Meeting called to order at 7 p.m. Call the roll.
Trustee Carey,
Here.
Trustee Haig,
Here.
Trustee Hall,
Here.
Trustee Hirschbein,
Here.
Trustee Pini,
Here.
Trustee Tarnow,
Here.
President Kubiak.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay, we have no public comments tonight, so we're going to move straight into this special presentation. Tonight, we have the Police Commission swearing in ceremony for patrol officers Evelyn Sanchez, Michael Carey, and Richard Gonzaga. Chief, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. The Police Department and the Board of Police Commissioners approved the hiring of 3 full-time police officers, Everly Sanchez, Michael Carey, and Richard Gonzaga, to fill 3 vacant positions. Emily Sanchez, who unfortunately is on a call right now, she's working. She's probably not going to make it here, but I would like to speak about her real quick. She graduated with an associate's degree in criminal justice from Wharton College in 2022. Everly previously worked for LaGrange Park Police Department, attended the Southwestern Illinois Police Academy, graduated in December of 2023. Everly previously worked for Marshall Avia Law Group before testing for the Pinion Grove Police Department, is currently in the field training program for the Pinion Grove Police Department. Officer Michael Carey graduated from Western Illinois University in Macomb with a bachelor's degree in law enforcement and justice administration in 2016. He started his law enforcement career working for the Village of Streamwood Police Department. He graduated in the academy in 2017, but left their employment in 2018. He became a security manager for the Grand Victoria Casino in Elgin for the last 6 years. Michael decided to return to law enforcement and is currently in the field training program. He's currently on the night shift. Richard Gonzaga graduated with an associate's degree in health and fitness from McHenry County College in 2012. Richard previously worked as a facility engineer for the Grand Victoria Casino since 2018, and Richard is currently attending the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy and the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, with a predicted graduation date of April 25th, 2025. Once completed, Richard will begin his field training program. The Pinion Grove Police Department would like to welcome all 3 officers to the Pinion Grove Police Department. At this time, Police Commissioner Joe Stevens will come up and swear them in. Just so you're aware, the officers have been working for the last couple of weeks. They were previously sworn in on December 30th. This is for their friends and family to be able to witness their swearing-in ceremony. Can I have Michael and Richard please come up?
All right. If you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I repeat your name. I, Michael Carey, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. And the ordinances of the Village of Pingree Grove. And that I will faithfully discharge. Of the office to which, to the best of my ability. the office to the best of my ability. Congratulations again. Nice to see you. Good luck.
For the village board, so you know, I did not mean for the entire room to leave after this, but looks like we still have two people.
All right, we'll get going. Tonight, we have the consent agenda, and on the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes from the village board meeting of December 16th, 2024, the approval of the warrant list from January 6th, 2025, in the amount of $3,962,305.98. The approval of the warrant list from January 21st, 2025, in the amount of $572,598.04. And the approval of pay application number 15 for the wastewater treatment plant improvements project in the amount of $2,540,459.25. Does anyone have any comments or questions? If not, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Haig,
Yes.
trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Hirschbein,
Yes.
trustee Tarnow,
Yes.
trustee Carey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, moving on, we have items for separate action. Item A is the consideration and approval of an ordinance amending ordinance number 22-0-07, which granted a special use permit and final PUD plan for Freight Union Incorporated. Nick, is this you?
Happy to take this one. So for the board's reminder, you may remember that in the fall, Freight Union came to give their pitch on their development, which is going to be happening in the Bell Harris Business Park down on Route 20. From there, we then took those plans and brought those to our Planning and Zoning Commission, where this amendment was brought forth, as well as the plat of consolidation, which is the following item. Which wanted to give a brief review for the board and answer any questions you may have at this point. In late 2021, Freight Union approached the village board to develop, and in 2022, the village passed an ordinance which granted special use and final PUD plan. Since then, Freight Union has experienced tremendous growth, and the original development plans had to be reevaluated and a new special use permit given, coinciding with the plat of consolidation. The Planning and Zoning Commission met in December 16th to review the amendment and findings of fact, and the commission recommended the approval of the amendment to ordinance number 2022-0-07. Members of the development team are here to answer any other questions the board may have.
Does anyone have any questions or concerns? I sat through the planning and zoning meeting, and this seems like a good project for the area. The building is really nice, so everything will be enclosed. And it does offer, you guys bring 50 jobs, don't you, to this?
That's correct. Yes.
And they're well-paying jobs, correct?
Very well paying jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
I was under the assumption the last time we voted on this was, that all the truck parking would be in the back of the building. And as you're going down 20, you wouldn't see all that. But now the way this plan shows, you are gonna see all that when you're coming down 20. That's all open. It's the back of the building, but the front of the building is on Bell Road. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I assumed it was on 20.
Yeah, I don't think the configuration has changed. I think it's always been planned like that. Now they do have a lot of landscaping set up to screen that. Would you cover really quick what kind of landscaping you got, screening, you think?
Yep,
is
Yep.
that a
So,
concern?
so Andy, you're exactly correct. The configuration has not changed whatsoever from when we first got our original project approved in 2021. Since then, we've obviously purchased the remaining portions of the other 6 parcels. The landscaping has only been buffed up, hence the reason, or based off of staff review and comments. So we do have a landscaping plan in our packet. All of that is available to you. I'm sure that we can provide additional information on that if you wish. But it is very heavily permed and landscaped, even more so from our original approval in 2021.
Will there be any entrances off of 20?
No.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions? If not, can I get a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission and approve an ordinance amending ordinance number 2022-0-07, which granted a special use permit and final PUD plan for Freight Union, Inc.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Haig,
Yes.
trustee Carey,
yes,
trustee Tarnow,
Yes,
trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Hirschbein.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay. Item B is the consideration and approval of a resolution approving the final plat of consolidation for lots 13 through 18 in the Pingree Grove Business Park. Nick, I don't know if there's anything else to say, but
No, just to reaffirm, like Corey just mentioned, because the development project grew so much, they purchased the additional lots, totaling 6 lots now in the business park. Those are lots 13 through 18. Those will be consolidated into one lot, pending approval from the village board, and then we will bring that forth to the county. Any questions? We're happy to answer.
Nick, my only question, this closes that business park out, correct? Will be completely full?
On the south side of Bell Court, that is correct. I don't think there's any other parcels on the throughway off of Route 20 as well. So I think that does complete it.
This will be it. This will be it.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions, concerns? If not, can I get a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission and approve a resolution approving a plat of consolidation for Freight Union, Inc., 1105 Bell Road, Pingree Grove Business Park, lots 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Carey,
yes,
trustee Hirschbein,
Yes.
trustee Tarnow,
yes,
trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Haig.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to item C. It's the consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement regarding jurisdictional boundaries between the village of Pingree Grove and the village of Gilbert's. Andy?
Yes, so as staff has kept the board apprised, up to date over the last 6 months or so, we've been negotiating with Gilbert's on a couple of things, including that sales tax agreement from a couple of meetings ago. This is just to wrap up the reconfirmation of the boundary agreement with the village of Gilbert's. The agreement is status quo to what was existing prior. We are recommending approval as there is approximately 150 to 200 acres of land that without this kind of agreement, we would be fighting over with them. So recommendation is to approve it.
Does anyone have any questions? or
I
concerns?
do. It's more of what if question. So in the future, if we were to expand and we put another water tower such in that's gonna feed and it'd be part of that parcel, would Gilbert's then be on the hook for the 50% of that? I guess that would be considered like an infrastructure.
I get so in the sales tax sharing area, which is on 47, it's, what corner would that be? The northeast corner, essentially. So Gobert's and the property directly south of Gobert's, the way the sales tax agreement is worded is if some kind of infrastructure improvement is necessary in order to facilitate a development there, then that cost is to be split. So in theory, say a lift station had to be built on that corner near 47 and 72. If that was not paid for by the developer and it was a cost that had to come to the village of Pingree Grove, then that would be a cost eligible to split with Gilbert's. But it's got to be within that area, and it can't be paid for by the developer. It's as if the cost has to come to the village.
I know you mentioned the tax issue. That was a separate agreement.
Totally separate from this. Yep, this is just the boundary agreement.
So what my question doesn't even apply to this then?
Not this specific agreement,
Okay.
no.
Here, we're just trying to make sure that the 150 acres we have that's sitting unannexed, we're protecting, from Gilbert's stealing from us.
Okay.
Not that they would, but
Is that all like along 47?
Wrong,
Want me to read this?
no, it's mostly along 72.
72?
So between Ranking and Big Timber Road on 72. That's primarily the land that would be disputed with us.
This right here?
This right here.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
if not, can I get a motion?
I move to approve an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental agreement regarding the jurisdictional boundaries between the village of Pingree Grove and the village of Gilbert's.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Tarnell,
Yes.
trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Hirschbein,
Yes.
trustee Carey,
Yes.
trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Haig.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to item D, it's the consideration and approval of a resolution stating opposition and protest to special use applications number 4654 and number 4655 for commercial solar facilities at Ranking Road, Big Timber, and Route 47 intersection. Andy?
Yes, so as President Kubiak mentioned, this is a resolution opposing a couple of different solar farm developments which have been proposed at that location, which is just outside of the village's planning area. However, it is contiguous with village boundaries and the village planning area. It's technically within the village of Hampshire's planning area. They are opposing this development, similar to how Gilbert's opposed the solar farm within their planning area. And right now, there's an ongoing effort with the different municipalities in the county to try to work with each other and work with the county to try to reform the different policies regarding allowance of these solar farms. It's complicated because there's state law involved as well and zoning legal issues, but the challenge that's faced right now throughout Kane County is there's a number of these solar farm developments that are being proposed in locations in which it's unincorporated territory, so the villages have minimal, if any, input. And it's hard, frankly, it's hard for the county to say no to the zoning if it's allowed within the county zoning. And so there's this difficulty. And so what we're trying to do as a group is to try to advocate for the reform of the laws. But in the short term, the municipalities are kind of banding together to oppose some of these developments. And to be clear, it's not anti-solar or anti this kind of development. It's all about the location and the use proposed. these proposed solar farms would be right along Route 47, which in the village's comprehensive plan and strategic plan, our goal is to promote commercial development there. And I know in the long term, Hampshire is also looking to facilitate commercial growth along 47. And so the resolution tonight is a resolution that if the board approves, we would send this to the county zoning department and the county board to be included in the record as this goes through the zoning approval process of the county and ultimately to the county board. I will say that the solar farm that was proposed in Gilbert's that this board previously issued a resolution against, the county actually turned it down, which was surprising. I think a good development and give some hope for these proposals that are being brought forth. And I think the other reason we're looking to do this is it is possible that someday we get our own within our own planning area if something's unincorporated, and we would like the fellow municipalities near us to help us in opposing the effort. So with that, I can answer any questions the board may have.
What is Hampshire zoned for now? I mean, is it 100% that thing's gonna be all commercial?
So Hampshire, none of that territory right now is actually, or very little of it is actually annexed into Hampshire, so it's not officially zoned. Their long-term plan has pretty much all of the frontage on 47 that they have, which is limited as commercial.
Cause if I'm reading this, they don't have solar going along 47, right? Is that the green lines or not?
So
Is that solar?
that would be their, I believe their water or their stormwater management.
Okay.
So you would have some water, which is better than the panels right up to the frontage, but that location is the closest one to 47 there.
Okay, and to maybe play devil's advocate after you
Mhm.
said, maybe somebody would come in our property about solar. If this gets approved, what's the likelihood they want to put more? And if it goes into Hampshire instead of Pingree Grove?
It has, so it's, I would say, I don't think maybe this particular company wouldn't, but there's so many of these solar farms popping up throughout, or proposals popping up throughout the county from multiple different companies that if they can get open space somewhere and a good deal with the local farmer or landowner, they'll go for it.
Right, because to be honest with you, I mean, I don't really, I'm not gonna vote for it, but I probably would rather look at solar farms and houses there, so. That's what I'm worried about, is Hampshire's gonna throw up another 500 houses there, you know. If I had a better idea, I would feel a little more comfortable, but, you know, and then the 47 frontage, I'm sure they'd leave for commercial.
Yeah.
Luke, I talked to Mike about this, Mike Reed about this, and their intention is to do commercial there. Because of the 47 frontage, that should be a commercial corridor, and throwing 150 or 200 acres of
Roughly.
solar farms for the next 20 years is not a positive thing. The
No.
interesting thing about this is a lease. It's a 20-year lease.
Yeah.
So when these go bad, these guys just walk away, and then whoever owns the property is
Take them out.
has to take them out and take them down at their cost, and they don't tell them that up front. And these guys are getting, all kinds of rebates and whatnot to put these solar farms up.
I mean, I'll stand with Hampshire. I'm just a little nervous that if we keep turning them down, that eventually they'll get one and it'll be Pingree Grove and then we get stuck with the damn thing.
Well, I'm hoping that by opposing all this, they recognize that we strongly oppose solar farms and that here is not the town to come to. We are working, like Andy said, throughout Metro West with all the other village presidents to try to stop this from happening and just be able to, because there are some areas where this makes sense. Along 47, it does not.
Yeah, if that's unincorporated, why can't we annex that into Pingree Grove?
It's within Hampshire's planning area, so our boundary agreement ends at that spot.
Does anyone have any other questions or concerns? If not, can I get a motion?
I move to approve a resolution stating opposition and protest to special use applications number 4654 and 4655 for commercial solar facilities at Ranking Road, Big Timber Road, and Route 47 intersections.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Tarno,
Yes.
trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Carey,
Yes.
trustee Haig,
Yes.
trustee Hirschbein.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Moving on to item E, it's the consideration and approval of a resolution acknowledging village liability for work performed in Illinois state rights of way. And Pat,
This is just a general housekeeping item in case we have to do work with IDOT. Without this, we have to post bond, and with this, we can move forward if we just agree to pay for any damages. Most everything we have going under the highway is sleeves, so there's no issues, but if we're in the right of way digging up to access the pipe that's in the sleeve where it ends, they want us to restore the property and agree to that, and we've always done that. It's just a quicker way for us to be able to work if need be.
does anyone have any questions?
I move to approve the resolution acknowledging the village's liability for work performed in Illinois state rights of way.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Hirschbein,
Yes.
trustee Hall,
Yes.
trustee Haig,
Yes.
trustee Pini,
Yes.
trustee Tarno,
Yes.
trustee Carey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, moving on to reports. I have a quick report update. I'm busy with meetings this week. I'm meeting with Representative Ugasti on Thursday to discuss Route 47 widening and our funding request. We requested money for an additional water tower. We'll see what happens. I spoke with Raja's team last week regarding the USPS request that we sent in April of 2024 for our own zip code. The USPS is moving like molasses in January on that response. And despite a couple calls to USPS from myself, we really haven't gotten very far. So I asked Raja himself to make a call to their contact in Washington, DC. They told me that could take 2 to 3 months. So just to make a call. Well, to get a response from USPS. I mean, I can tell you, I've never seen anything like it. Laura sent this request with all the information that they needed in April of 2024. They told us you'll have a determination by July. Then it was December. Then it was January 10th. And then I called last week, and I mean, she had told me last week when I talked to her, she was just starting the project. You've had it for almost a year. So that's our federal government at work there. I'm trying to see, Thursday, Andy and I have a Metro West legislative breakfast. And, I know Andy puts it in his weekly notes, but our commercial progress that we're working on is continuing to move forward. We don't have any real big updates for you guys this week, but we are progressing on that and seeing, things coming back from developers. So that's all positive. That's all I have. So Andy.
Yeah, I have two quick things. One, keep an eye out for an email or text from me in the next couple of days. I'm gonna be reaching out to get some just preliminary feedback regarding some of our baseball license agreements that we've been working on. It's that time of year again, and so I'm gonna be reaching out to each and every one of you to get a little initial feedback. The only other update I have right now is also something to keep in your mind. About a month from now, we will be reaching out to schedule budget talks with each of the trustees to go over the preliminary budget for the next fiscal year, which starts on May 1st. That's all I have right now.
Chief, what do you have for us?
I have no report, Madam President.
Albert?
Andy stole my thunder with the budget, so thank you. I have nothing.
All right, Nick.
Just wanted to let the board know that we are tentatively planning to have a planning and zoning commission meeting in the second half of February to do some code updates, and we'll obviously bring more information to the board as that develops. Other than that, nothing else.
Thank you. Pat?
I've been in contact with the well contractor, and things are coming along. The holidays slowed things up a little bit. They're waiting on a coupling to join the motor shaft to the pump. And once they have that, they'll be ready to put it back in, which brought the question, because it's budget time, how much is it going to cost to do well two? Which I also asked, if we're here, and move the equipment from well two or well one to well two, just move it just down the block, is there a savings? There's a $5,980 savings to do that. Now, we can roll the dice and wait till fall. My suggestion is, we're not using a lot of water now. We don't want to do it in the summer. That's really when I get nervous, because if something happens and we don't have a backup, but if there's interest from you guys, I will bring a motion to the board at the next meeting to move forward and pull, once they get well two the well down at the garden operational and it passes all the samples, to move their equipment up the street and start the next well rehab. If there isn't, we'll budget it and do it in the fall.
How long have they had that well out?
They've had it out since November, I think, early November. We pulled it. They
Okay.
sent the motor down to Texas. The motor came up, the holidays delayed things a little bit. They were hoping to have it have everything back early January. The complication is the new well pump has a different shaft size than the motor. And so they have to have a special coupler made to connect the two, and that's why.
Would that be the same issue as well, the coupler?
If we would have to replace the pump here. It's hard to say until they pull and inspect. I know the pump wasn't replaced last time. It was just the bushings and the bearings went through. I know the pump up here has different characteristics, and we were pumping sand, a lot of sand before, and so they reduced the capacity so it wouldn't pump as much sand, but it could be the same thing where we're pull it and we decide that it's so far out of whack that we have to replace the pump assembly on that one too.
Would there be any concern about not being done by summer to start that one when this one is done?
I can ask that and address that in the, when I come back to the board. He did not seem to think so now that the New Year's and Christmas is over. Better prepared, and if it would be a very similar pump that goes on the bottom of this motor if it needed, the pump assembly needed to be replaced. So I think they could probably do things faster, but I haven't asked them that specific question.
Okay.
Pat, where do the parts come from?
That's a good question.
Because if they come from anywhere in Asia, you're gonna hit Chinese New Year and they shut down for a month. So you would not be done by.
I think most of this stuff is American made. I know the electric motor went down to Loveland, Texas. That's who made the motor for a full rehab. And, so basically it's an old motor, but it's in brand new condition when it comes back to us. The pump assembly, I'm sure they're buying, I gotta think they're buying American made. I'd say 99% sure they're not importing something from overseas Asia. But I'll find all that out and address it if you're even interested in me bringing it to the board. If you're not, it's okay.
Well, it's something we need to do either way, right? I mean,
that is correct. We need to do it. And
I would save the money if possible, but I wouldn't let $5,000 savings if it's going to interrupt the summer flow. If you're really concerned about it,
Sure.
I'd rather make sure I'd spend the extra $5 to not shut it down in the summer.
Yep.
But save it if it's.
Let me see what the timeline is, and if it looks like a favorable timeline, I will bring it to the board
Okay.
That sounds good.
at the next meeting. Thank you. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions from me.
No, okay. Zach,
Just some updates. Work continues at the waste plant. They've got the base slab poured for structure 91, which is a digester. They're continuing to do some electrical work, HVAC work in structure 105. Once the weather warms up some, they'll be back out digging, so you'll see more of a presence driving across the road. The next year's MFT project is continuing in design. And then the roundabout project, we had our public information meeting last week. We have another week to wait for more comments to potentially come in. And then once that's done, we'll get that formally sent into IDOT as part of the PDR. And then the Illinois 72 multi-use path is also advancing. Hopefully we're looking to get that sent into IDOT here in the coming weeks. So that's what I got.
all right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, legal, do you have anything for us tonight?
I know Michael's working on a couple of ordinances, but there's nothing in particular that he wanted to give an update on.
Okay. Laura, do you have anything? Okay. Does anyone have any old or new business they'd like to share?
Do we know when the library is coming back to propose?
Yeah, they'll be back in April, correct, Andy?
April referendum, yep.
Is he gonna come and talk first?
No, they don't need any kind of approval from us. Their board, over in December, they approved going to referendum just for the Finger Grove building, so.
And you're keeping it the same as it was. The original plan or whatever, the last plan, they're just cutting out the other one.
Yeah, we're very similar to it, yeah.
Is there anything that we're gonna do as far as the village to try and help push the initiative to get people to vote?
So we can't take a public position either way. What we are doing is, in our next copy of the newsletter, we're just gonna inform people that this is on the ballot. We'll do a post. And then also the library is gonna be doing town halls, and we've offered to let them utilize our space again to talk about it, so.
Yeah, but the best you can do, Kevin, is just tell people to go to the library meetings and get their questions answered there. And then tell them the benefits if you see it, I guess, right?
Yeah, tell them to go to the town halls.
Yeah, okay.
And I can,
Michael
I
might
guess,
yell at me.
to tag on to that, the village can't take an official position. You as a member of the board can't take an official position. You as a citizen are welcome to participate in a process. Talk to your neighbors, talk to them, explain where where you fall on something, but it can't be as a board member, this is what I think you should do, or this is what we as a board think should happen. Splitting hairs a little bit, but just to make sure everybody's safe.
Okay, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll?
Trustee Carey,
Yes.
trustee Hay,
Yes.
trustee Peony,
Yes.
trustee Hirschbein,
Yes.
trustee Tarnow,
Yes.
trustee Hall.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:36.